What is up, guys? Look at this beautiful scene behind me, and I came here just to talk about iOS 19 and upcoming iPhone 17 leaks. Let's get started. First, let's talk about iOS 19, and iOS isn't just changing, it is shifting. So first of all, we're gonna get some new icons. We're still gonna have the same design. However, now the icons can potentially become rounded, which is so much better. And the control center and notification center are going to change to match Vision OS. So Apple is planning to make iOS 19 similar to how Vision OS is, with this transparent glass seal book for the icons and the menus, which is really nice. That's a great feature. And of course, we're gonna have some updates for Apple Intelligence, because we all know it kind of failed right now in front of Galaxy AI or Google Gemini. Okay, now let's talk about the iPhone 17. Let me just change the background because it's kind of boring. It's not boring, it's beautiful, but like, we can do better. That's even more boring. Let me just open those curtains and look at this beautiful background behind me. That's so good. Now I can film my YouTube videos like MKV HD. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the iPhone 17. Oh man, we're gonna have a new lineup. iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Air, iPhone 17 Pro, and the Pro Max. We don't know if it's gonna be called Ultra. So, we're not too sure still about that. But first, let's talk about the base iPhone 17. The iPhone 17 will finally have a 120Hz refresh rate, and a 24 megapixel selfie camera, and the same design, and potentially 12 gigabytes of RAM, and an A19 chip, and. But yeah, there are not too many upgrades for the iPhone 17. However, the Air has got something new. So Apple is going to remove the Plus model since it's not sold that much, because people just get the Pro Max instead of the Plus. The Air is Apple's thinnest iPhone, beating the iPhone 6 at 6.9 millimeters back then. This is going to be 5.5 millimeters, which is extremely thin. However, the iPad Pro M4 13-inch is still going to be the thinnest Apple device out there. Of course, it's also gonna have 120Hz, since all of the iPhone 17 models are going to have 120Hz refresh rate. Now let's talk about the design of the iPhone 17 here, because it's kind of weird. Okay, so Apple may be copying Google's design. So this horizontal camera lock you'll see on Google Pixel 9 series, which I absolutely love. This is a beautiful design. Good job, Google. Apple is going to kind of copy it for the iPhone 17. However, it's not going to have an ultra-wide or a telephoto because it is so thin, so it has to make those sacrifices. However, it is 48 megapixels, so we're getting 2x digital focus. We're going to have a telephoto and a wide. It's what they say, but I just see a wide. But the battery is going to have around 4 milliamps-ish battery percentage. It's not gonna be the best battery on an iPhone because it's gonna be super thin. However, it's still gonna have a really good battery that can last you through the day. Of course, you're gonna have USB-C. The phone will be made out of aluminum, which is nice. However, it's not as premium as like titanium or stainless steel. And if you're wondering about the iPhone 17 Pro model as well, it will have a 48 megapixel telephoto. So now all three lenses have 48 megapixels, and the selfie camera will now be 24 megapixels. It will have the A19 Pro chip with 12 gigabytes of base RAM, and the phone will be made all out of aluminum. And to keep MagSafe working, the Apple is gonna put a specific part on the back of the phone made out of glass, so MagSafe can still work through. We are expected to have a big new design. The phone can either look like this or like this. We're not too sure about that. This is very similar to the Google Pixel, but this is very similar to what was previously. However, we have this kind of new design to the camera housing, which I do prefer in my opinion. And you might also have a smaller dynamic island, which I do prefer. Now guys, if you enjoyed this video, I would highly recommend you subscribing, because I'm trying to grow it to 5,000 subscribers. Noticing my subscribers are slowing down, I don't know, but hey, that's kind of a disappointment, and I want to reach more and more subscribers, potentially 10,000 and in the future 100,000 subscribers. So please, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. It would support me a lot. Thank you guys for everything, and I will catch you in my next video. Peace.